Sent to me today by Susan Maple, and another key to unlocking reality. And here is USGS about the Kilauea volcano. Now, let's watch this. This is just recently, not too long ago. What you're seeing here, and I'm, as always, going to let it go for a second, then I'm going to stop it, and then let it go, and so forth. Look at this. Look at how fluid that is and how extremely fast that's flowing out. Now look at this. What is that? Let's talk about what we see here. We're seeing obviously something spewing out of a hole here. It's not coming from nowhere, so it's coming out of a hole, blah, 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 fast, 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 fast. And it is glowing extremely intense, and it is extremely fluid because it's extremely excited. And that means it's literally burning, which means it has a lot of oxygen. Now, what do we see here? We see another hole. If we follow, we'll see it's like a round hole. And I can tell you right now, that's a round hole too. I would say, that's my estimation. And I'm sure it is. They all are, pretty much, because I think I know what they are now. And that is blowing out this fluid very fast, and it's flowing down here, mixing with this, making extremely interesting patterns, which we don't need to concern ourselves with, but they are interesting. Now, this is what I want you to watch. Let's watch it flow now. All right, here we go. Look at that stuff bubble and flow out of here violently. What's happening there? Nothing. It's saying, you know, I'm kind of hot over here, but I'm just not going to go with you. I don't have the same kind of chemistry you have. You have too much oxygen, so you're boiling like crazy, and you're overheating. I'm just going to take it easy here. I don't have enough oxygen like you. So what would that mean if it was a creature's blood? All right, let's think about that. If this was an artery, which has a lot of extra oxygen, and this was a vein, which doesn't have a lot of oxygen, because veins used up all their oxygen. All right. In your body, when you're really powerful stuff, this has power, this sucker can do some work, and you take that, and that gets flushed down into your arms and your legs, your muscles and your brain and everywhere, and it uses it up. And what happens to this, and I can show you in my, well, here's one I have in my mud fossils. Whoops. It goes from, here, I got to put a little moisture on this, and then we'll come back to this. But you see what I'm going to show you right there. It goes from red to black, and it gets brown in the middle. Now, this one, you're not seeing the brown, but what happens in here, I'm just going to let it sit here and dry up for a second. I wet a rock, and you'll be able to see it. Now, what is happening here is that's the vein side, and I will or should very shortly show you the veins and arteries and rocks, and that's exactly what it is. One of them gets plugged up, usually turns black, and they almost always seal off because there's valves in here to stop it from going backwards. But arteries are unrestricted. They just blow out like crazy. And this is like the guy got his leg cut off or something. I don't know what to say. It's like blah, 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 and this one's saying, oh, yeah. And you tie a tourniquet off and you could stop that. And of course the earth would blow up. I don't know what would happen. But I'm telling you right now, this is exactly identical to what I would expect. And I have been looking for the reason for volcanoes, and I did find some, and I think I understood this a while back because of mud volcanoes, and Kilimanjaro is the one that I was looking at very carefully, and that is also a double volcano looking thing, and one of them I believe is a mud volcano, which I believe is the arterial side. However, I can't guarantee any of this stuff. Now, I can guarantee you though that in the body, this is exactly what happens, is your red blood, I have some that are much better, but I don't know where the heck they are. The red blood comes down this side, and as that red blood is used, it works its way over. Alright? I don't know if you can see all these little bitty tiny holes. And by the time it gets over to this side, it's black. Black as the ace of spades. And that's it gets sucked back up. But coming down, I don't know where it comes in here. It might come in over here somewhere. This is, it goes from here over to there. That's what happens. There's little tiny blood vessels. And I have many, 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 many examples of this. And this is what I would expect to see. That's all I can tell you. Alright, you just saw Kilauea and the two different vein and an artery. That's what I'm saying, vein and an artery. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I have no clue. But that's what I see. And the chemistry looks right to me. You see that black spot? That's what happens with veins. They're black because there's no oxygen left in them to speak of. Now, the artery is here. They pump blood down there like crazy that has tons of oxygen in it. So it's it's extremely red and active because it has extra oxygen. It wants to literally combust. It is combusting in your body. I don't think you probably understand that. You are literally combusting oxygen right this instant, and if you don't, you will die very soon. So the oxygen is going down here, and there is nothing to stop it. There's no restrictions. It goes flying down there, and when you die, it blows out of you, like this one here. You see this? I have the rock right here. Well, it's not a rock, it's a fingertip from a giant. But the same thing happens. They have here. Now this one here, I believe that would be the vein side, and it didn't really blow out, but it got changed, so it's not black anyway. But they normally one blows out, the other doesn't. This is the vein side, this is the artery side. Now I have that fingertip right here, and this has been DNA tested. This is from a human. It's from a giant human. And anybody that's a doctor will know that that black pattern right there is the distal phalange. It's right at the very, very tip of your finger. Now, let's get it back here where you can see this better. Alright, you see that? There's the vein side. It's still there because it doesn't blow out like the artery side. That's the artery side. And in the fingertip, there's a whole bunch of little artery holes here. And that comes down here, and they're in there like this. This is all eroded. So this was like around, maybe like this here, something like that. I have the twin to it over here somewhere. Here, I'll show you how big it would have been, so you'll understand what happens to these blood vessels. This, let me back this out here. Okay. This is the twin to it, but it was on the other side of the hand, which wasn't eroded like that. Now, you see that black blood? The chemistry in mud fossils is unbelievable. They should be looking into this because I understand where things are and what kind of metals collect and like different, all about this. This was a creature, and it's a giant one. You get to look at them in big size, but it's human, and it is not only human; it's modern human. Modern human mitochondrial DNA. All right, so let's get down back to the eroded one. All right, so here is the eroded fingertip. Now. And you could actually see the bone in here. If you see, there's a little bone head around here. All this was flesh around here. So now it's blown out because this side was down in the watery area, and it eroded, and because it was down, the pressure builds up in the arterioles, and they explode. And it exploded out the end too. And that's where I took the blood from. And if you could see in there, and I don't know if you can. But if you could, it's a red blood in there. And, you know, I went down deep into the arterial areas on all the specimens I did. I had 3 DNA tests. Now, this is the vein side. They don't blow out. That's a vein right there. And this is where the other vein is, right here. Now, this angular thing, you'll see them in every one. And that is where the tendons hook in and able to move your finger up and down and do all these things. Very, very elegant system. So anyway, and this is a mud fossil, obviously mud, and that's what these things are. So, what's happening there, I believe, is you're seeing an artery and a vein. That's one possibility. And the black again, and the red, which would blow right out of there. That's why you saw those holes in that finger. So, let's go back and take a look at the dragon in the desert, because we're in that scale of a realm of creature. I mean, that's all I can say. That's it. And the earth is alive, and I'm going to tell you that right now. I have every faith in my being that the Earth is alive. We may be killing it. I have no clue. I wouldn't like to be the Earth being fracked all day long, exploded, and put acids put in me. No, and I wouldn't like to have the waters that I own be assaulted the way, and the air that surrounds me. I wouldn't like any of that stuff. But and and if it's alive, I mean, I don't know any creature that doesn't react. So who knows what's going on? But this is possibility one in my mind, and you can laugh and say the guy's a wacko, but let me just show you something, and then you see how wacko I am.